Superstars, Kevin Durant, number 7, Kyrie Irving, number 11. Let's start with KD, who dropped 34 points last night in the Nets win. That helped him pass 3 legends of the game, Elgin Baylor, Dwayne Wade, Adrian Dantley on the all-time scoring list. By the way, I just want to point out our control room is really hampered right now. They don't have the right video and graphics coming in, so please, everyone give them a shout out. They're doing a good job. I want to point out Kevin Durant also just shy of a triple-double. As for Kyrie Irving, he missed his 4th straight game due to personal reasons last night. And look, the league is reviewing the video you just saw, him at a family party, to see how recent it is and if it's a violation of COVID protocol. Meanwhile, Nets general manager releasing a statement on Kyrie that read, quote, "We are aware of a video on social media featuring Kyrie Irving at a family gathering. We are reviewing the circumstances, and we are seeing if they determine compliance with the health and safety protocols." Kyrie remains away from the team, and the date of his return yet to be finalized. In the meantime, we will continue to stay focused on organizational goals. And this is the key sentence. Kyrie will have the opportunity to address his absence when he is ready to do so. Translation, we're not going to say it. He's going to have to say it. Meanwhile, when the Nets were playing last night, this photo of Kyrie on a Zoom call for a candidate for the Manhattan District Attorney surfaced. So this call was last night. Malika, you've been covering the Nets. What standing is Kyrie in with the organization right now?
The honest answer, Rachel, is I'm not totally sure. And I say that because I read the statement from Sean Marks too, and that line stood out to me that they are not going to be coming in and speaking on behalf of Kyrie Irving. They are very much leaving this for him to speak on for himself. He needs to answer to where, why, when, how we got to this place. That's not something that the Nets are going to be coming in and saying. And the sentiment that I've heard both on and off the record over and over from players, from coaches, from folks in the front office with the Brooklyn Nets is, we just need to focus on what's going on in this building. We need to focus on what's going on in Barclays Center. And guess what? Kyrie Irving right now is not in Barclays Center. But I'm sure Perk can speak a little bit better to this than I can. If I am a teammate of Kyrie Irving's and I am doing my job, showing up to work every day, at the very least, when Kyrie Irving does come back, there is some sort of explanation that not only should he be giving to reporters so that fans can understand what led to this, but more importantly to his teammates. And the only way, in my mind, for him to continue to have this work, because remember, earlier in the season, when Kyrie Irving was not speaking to reporters, the team said, we're fine with it because he is wonderful to us in practice. He is a leader. He is great on the court. He is showing up for games. He is carrying us. This is why we brought him here, to play amazing basketball. And so he needs to mend whatever is going on in the locker room, making sure that he is being consistent with that communication that Steve Nash and the players have continued to say they want to keep private. That is where he needs to start when he does return, which we know, as Adrian Wojnarowski and I reported, is not expected to be this week.
And here it is, you right on the money. And they got that old saying, yes, I got my old soul cap on today. You made your bed, now you got to lay in it. I love what Sean Marks and the organization of the Nets are doing and saying, no, Kyrie, you have to man up and you have to answer to this. Not only to the media and the outside world, but to your teammates, as just like Malika just said. Because here it is, for the simple fact that you leave, you don't give anybody a warning, you just don't show up to the game, you're not communicating with no one in the front office, no one on the coaching staff, none of your teammates. If I'm a teammate, I feel disrespected. But are we surprised? No, I'm not one bit, because I've been said this about Kyrie. And you know what's the bad part about it? Is that it's so many people in the world today, right? Just think, even in our network, co-workers, great people that lost their jobs because of the pandemic, that are trying to find work, hard-working, everyday people that don't have jobs. Here you are getting paid $35 million to show up to work and play the game of basketball, and you can't do that. Another thing, you are the vice president of the Players Association. So look, that makes the Players Association look bad. You know why? Because you're doing things on your own again without communicating with others, without telling people that you're supposed to be leading, and just going off and doing your own thing, and it's not a good look. And to be honest with y'all, if I'm the Brooklyn Nets, I'm looking to trade Kyrie Irving right now, because I just never know with this guy. You never know what you're going to get from him. And if you're a contender, a title contender, a team that's trying to win a championship, you definitely don't want someone that's not all in or may just, disappear in the course of the playoffs and no one can find them. That's just unacceptable.
Well, Perk, I can certainly speculate that has crossed the mind of the Nets brass. But as you know, look, Kyrie came with Kevin Durant as a package deal. So if the Nets ever did want to trade Kyrie Irving, they would have to get Kevin Durant's blessing. And at least so far with Kevin's public comments, it certainly doesn't seem that he feels it has reached that threshold. He has been supportive of Kyrie, although he has also made the point Kyrie is going to have to explain all this to you for himself. All right, guys, stick with us. Coming up, LeBron James. We talked about that disrespectful 3 last night. Hopefully we can actually show it to you this time. Professor Bodmer has been in his lab cooking up LeBron's most disrespectful plays, so stick around for that movie title. And when that doesn't work, you try going word by word, pretzeling yourself into a series of undignified positions, only to have time run out, and you scream at your teammates, "Dances with Wolves, people! That was so obvious!" That is exactly what it felt like watching James Harden at post-game media podium last night. For more than a month, the man has been trying everything to telestrate what he has been thinking. I mean, it's not like he just didn't report to training camp on time. He didn't report to camp on time, as he instead went on a 3-state tour of various clubs and nighttime establishments, posting social media of himself along the way. When that didn't get him traded, he went to a friend's party, again, maskless, indoors, in direct violation of the NBA's protocol. At least the league noticed that and fined him. Still, all we heard from the Rockets and their management was that they wanted James to play games for them, the hope being that if he actually got on the court with new acquisitions like John Wall, Boogie Cousins, Christian Wood, maybe he'd change his mind on wanting out. Narrator, he did not change his mind. And again, he has been acting that out. The Rockets have lost 4 of their last 5, in large part because Harden has been a shadow of his usual point-scoring, foul-drawing, step-back self. He scored 20 points or fewer 4 games in a row, the first time that's happened since he was coming off the bench in OKC back in 2012. And last night, well, if last night wasn't rock bottom, I'd hate to see what is. By the end of the first quarter, the Lakers, already up 35-14, basically treating the game as an and-one showcase. Check out Montrezl Harrell and THT. Each just cleaning up each other's misses with some rim rattling. Yeah. See, that's nice. Then with the Lakers up 21, LeBron James turned the disrespect up to 11. He hit a pump fake 3 that he didn't even bother to watch fall. And why, may you ask, did LeBron turn to his bench in particular? Well, let him and Dennis Schroeder tell you what happened.
Well, my teammate, hit me with a bet on the sideline, and I took the bet while I was still shooting the ball. I told him to bet a Benjamin on it, so he shot it, or took a dribble, shot it, and turned around and said, bet, then it went in, and it's just legendary. He said, bet you won't make it. And in order to make a bet official, you either got to have a handshake or you got to look a man in the eye. So he said, bet it. And I turned around, looked him in the eye, and I said, bet it.
I can't even. I mean, that's incredible. And in years past, we would have seen at least an attempt at an incredible response from James Harden. Look, you can say what you want about the style James plays, his ability to be clutch in the playoffs, but you cannot deny that out of the 7.7 billion people on this green earth, he is one of the very, very best at playing the basketball. He is an Iron Man who rarely misses games. He is a walking playoff berth. And yet last night, with the defending champs literally making a mockery of Houston's home court, Harden barely lifted a finger. He loped lazy passes. He didn't move on defense. After the game, Coach Stephen Silas said, quote, "They're having fun at our expense. It doesn't feel good at all. We should take umbrage. It's like the Lakers were dancing on our home court." But it was what Harden said post-game that spoke the loudest. Clearly, finally tired of trying to act out his feelings, Harden just came out and said what we've all known he's been thinking for more than a month.
We're just not good enough. We don't obviously chemistry, talent-wise, just everything. And it was clear. I love this city. I literally, have done everything that I can. This situation is crazy. It's something that I don't think can be fixed. So, thanks.
Okay, then. John Wall was up next, and while he didn't want to comment on what Harden said specifically, he did say that, quote, when you have certain guys in the mix that don't want to buy in all as one, it's hard to do anything special. Then when asked about his relationship with Harden, here's what he did say.
I think it's been a little rocky. Can't lie about that. I don't think it's been the best it could be, to be honest. That's all I really can say.
By this morning, the Rockets had clearly had enough. Harden was told not to come to practice, with coach Stephen Silas telling reporters, quote, we felt it was best for the group and best for James. While Boogie Cousins said the disrespect, quote, isn't something that all of a sudden started last night. Boogie added, it's completely unfair to the rest of the guys in the locker room. So, what happens next? ESPN is reporting the Rockets are in active, serious trade conversations with both Philadelphia and Brooklyn as we speak. So maybe we'll see a Harden deal as soon as today, or maybe it'll be a week or next month. Regardless, it is clear now how this story is going to end. Sounds like James Harden won't be in Houston much longer. So, Perk, where do you think the Rockets go from here?
Well, Rachel, I think that James Harden will probably never wear a Houston Rockets jersey again, especially not this season or the next two seasons. He keeps saying that he wants to retire as a Rocket, and I get that because he's done a lot for this organization. He's done a lot for this city. But, a wise man told me when I was young, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. And what James Harden did yesterday by throwing his teammates under the bus, undervaluing them, treating them like they're not good enough, or actually saying it, is a problem. And right now the Rockets are taking the right steps. I just read a report that said that Stephen Silas said that James will be home for the remainder of the period until they find a trade. And that's the right move. They have to trade James Harden, and they need to trade him fast.
Yeah, if that wasn't enough, what happened last night, Stephen Silas, when he was asked today whether or not that he thought the situation was reconcilable, he said, I don't know. And that's pretty much as close that coaches come to saying, no, this just isn't going to work out. But what sticks out to me, Rachel and Perk, when I look at what James Harden said last night, it's where is the responsibility on his part for what he's calling, quote, craziness that's going on, whether that's on the court, the statistics that you refer to, Rachel, or whether that's all of the stuff that they've been putting up with that James Harden has been doing off of the court. And if recent history has told us anything about stars that are unhappy in their markets, I'm thinking about Jimmy Butler in Minnesota. I'm thinking about Anthony Davis when he was in New Orleans. Whether or not it gets to be to the point that it is volatile, it doesn't work out. These stars move on. They move forward. Eventually, they get what they want. They tried. The Rockets tried. They asked James Harden to come back. They had a couple of games with him on the court, and it did not work out. The only way that I see this going from here on out, Perk said it, they're headed towards a divorce.
Yeah, and it's not just the sort of situation right now that he said it's not working. Malika, how do you see James' self-awareness overall impacting the situation?
Well, I think that it's playing a part in it. It's hard when you're listening to John Wall, when you're listening to DeMarcus Cousins, hearing them say that this isn't the first time that the disrespect has shown up. This isn't the first time that they're feeling this way. It's hard to want to go out on the court and be focused on performing as a unit when you have one guy saying that this just isn't good enough. Oh, and by the way, that one guy is your franchise player. That's where the question comes up of whether or not James Harden can put himself into a 20,000-foot position and say, hey, looking down on the situation, I see my role in it. I see how I am impacting my teammates. I see the role that I am playing here, and I need to leave so that they can continue. Right now, it looks like James is putting everything out and not turning the mirrors back in on himself.
Perk, where would you rather him go? He's rumored to be going to either Brooklyn or Philadelphia. Where would you rather see him?
Well, to be honest with me, I think the best fit for the Rockets is for James to go to Philly because they're going to probably get back Ben Simmons. And James in Philadelphia, along with how Joel Embiid is playing right now, Danny Green is playing awesome, Seth Curry is playing elite basketball, and coached under Doc Rivers, they will be really dangerous in the Eastern Conference, and it will make it that more competitive to the Milwaukee Bucks, to the Brooklyn Nets. The reason that if I'm James, I wouldn't want to go to the Brooklyn Nets because I don't know what's going on with Kyrie. You go in there to think that you're going to play with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, and then all of a sudden Kyrie Irving, you get in the first round of the playoffs and no one hears from him. He's nowhere to be found. So if I'm James, I'm looking at structure. I'm looking at what's going on, and I'm evaluating both of these ball clubs. And right now, Philly looks like the best ball club for him to go to.
Well, it's funny you should say that, Perk, because we are going to get back to the Rockets later in the show. But I do want to debut our latest